tragic life of Walter Scott Jr. came to a quiet end this year. At 81, the world watched as music lost one of its calmest, kindest voices. But who was the man behind the smooth baritone? And why does his legacy still echo today? First, let's clear up some confusion. There are two famous Walter Scott Jr.'s. One was a billionaire businessman from Nebraska. The other was our subject, the R&B legend who helped create the Whispers. Born on September 23, 1943 in Fort Worth, Texas, Walter Scott Jr. entered the world alongside his identical twin brother, Wallace. These two boys would grow up to change soul music forever. The twins moved to Los Angeles in their teens. In 1963, they were performing as a duet when fate stepped in. Backstage at a talent show, they met three other young singers, Nicholas Caldwell, Marcus Hudson, and Gordy Harmon. The three were performing as a trio. When all five started harmonizing together, magic happened. They knew they had something special. The group called themselves the Whispers. They were inspired by legends like the Temptations and the Four Tops. Walter and Wallace were the heart of the group. Their voices blended like silk, but it wasn't easy. They performed on street corners in the Watts section of Los Angeles. They had no money, they had no record deal, they only had their dream. The early years were tough. Record companies didn't understand their sound. They bounced from label to label, first Soul Clock Records, then Janus Records. Each time, they hoped for their big break. Each time, they faced disappointment. But the Whispers never gave up. They believed in their music. They believed in each other. In 1973, the group faced its first major change. Gordy Harmon was injured in a car accident. He had to leave the group. The remaining members were heartbroken, but they found Lee Vile Degree. Born July 31, 1948, Lee Vile brought new energy to the group. The Whispers were ready to move forward. The late 1970s brought their breakthrough. They signed with Solar Records and worked with producer Leon Silvers III. Walter later said Leon changed the sound that was the Whispers. They began mixing their smooth soul with funk and disco. It was a risky move, but it paid off big time. In 1980, they released And the Beat Goes On. The song was pure magic. It hit #1 on the R&B charts. It also topped the dance charts. For the first time, the Whispers were mainstream stars. The song went gold. Their album went double platinum. Walter's smooth baritone was now heard around the world. 3 years later came another hit, Rock Steady. This song reached #7 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was their biggest crossover success. The song showed their evolution. They kept their elegant style but added an 80s edge. Walter's voice was the perfect guide through this new sound, but success came with loss. In 1989, Marcus Hudson became too ill to perform. He died in 2000. The group made a promise. They would never replace him. They would honor his memory by continuing as a quartet. This decision showed their deep bond. They weren't just a group, they were family. More loss followed. Nicholas Caldwell died in 2016 from heart failure. He was 71. Nicholas had been their choreographer and visual mastermind. His dance moves were as important as their voices. Then in 2023, original member Gordy Harmon passed away at 79. Each loss cut deep, but the Whispers kept performing. Walter's voice was often compared to Ronald Isley of the Isley Brothers. Both had that smooth, emotional quality that made listeners stop and listen. But Walter had his own style. He was the calm center of the Whispers. His brother Wallace was the spark. Together, they created something beautiful. The group's success was remarkable. They released 25 albums over their career. They scored 49 hits on the R&B charts. 15 of those were top 10 singles. They earned 2 platinum albums and 5 gold albums. Songs like It's a Love Thing, Lady, and Keep On Lovin' Me became classics. Their music reached far beyond the charts. Hip-hop artists sampled their songs 355 times. Their tracks appeared in over 600 compilations. Will Smith used And the Beat Goes On in his 1998 hit Miami. Movies like Waiting to Exhale featured their music. They were part of the soundtrack of American life. The awards poured in. They received the NAACP Image Award in 2002. They were inducted into the Vocal Group Hall of Fame in 2003. In 2008, they received the Rhythm and Blues Foundation's Pioneer Award. The accolades kept coming well into the 2020s. In 2022, they received the Presidential Lifetime Volunteer Service Award from President Biden. This honor recognized their community service. Walter and the Whispers always gave back. They used their platform to promote love and unity. Songs like How Long addressed social justice issues. Despite their success, critics often called them R&B's Forgotten Titans. This label frustrated the group. They had the hits, they had the awards, they had the influence, but they didn't always get the respect they deserved. Some blamed racism in the music industry. Others pointed to changing tastes in music criticism. Walter never let this bother him publicly. He focused on the music. He focused on the fans. Every night on stage, he saw people singing along to songs from decades past. That was his real reward. That was his true legacy. In recent years, the Whispers made a bold move. They decided to re-record their biggest hits. This wasn't about nostalgia. It was about business. Walter explained that record companies had made millions from their music, but the artists saw very little of that money. Traditional contracts were not artist-friendly. The group was inspired by Taylor Swift and Anita Baker. These artists fought to own their masters. Walter said, "We want to reap some of the financial benefits that record companies have enjoyed at our expense for decades." They started with "And the Beat Goes On" in 2022. They called it the Whispers version. This move showed Walter's business sense. After nearly 60 years in music, he understood the industry's problems. He wanted to help other older artists reclaim their work. He wanted to change the system that had taken advantage of so many musicians. Walter's personal life was marked by humility and spirituality. He wasn't flashy like some stars. He was a quiet man who let his voice do the talking. He believed music had healing power. He saw his role as bringing joy to people's lives. The end came on June 26, 2025. Walter had been battling cancer for 6 months. He died in Northridge, California, surrounded by family. His twin brother Wallace was by his side. So were his longtime bandmates. The man who had brought so much harmony to the world passed away peacefully. The music world mourned. Fans shared memories of dancing to "And the Beat Goes On" at weddings and parties. Musicians talked about how the Whispers influenced their sound. Radio stations played tribute shows. The tributes showed how far Walter's voice had traveled. Walter Scott Jr. was more than a singer. He was a pioneer who helped shape R&B music. He was a businessman who fought for artists' rights. He was a community leader who used his platform for good. He was a family man who never forgot his roots. His voice was soft and smooth, but his impact was loud and clear. He proved that you don't need to be the loudest person in the room to be heard. Sometimes the most powerful voices are the gentlest ones. The Whispers continue without Walter, but his legacy lives on in every note they sing. His influence can be heard in every artist who samples their music. His spirit lives on in every fan who still gets goosebumps when "And the Beat Goes On" plays. Walter Scott Jr. may be gone, but his music is eternal. In a world full of noise, he gave us harmony. In a time of division, he brought us together. And for that, we'll always be grateful. What's your favorite Whispers memory? Let us know in the comments below. And if this video moved you, please like and subscribe. Walter's story deserves to be remembered.